What is up, guys? Sophia here, back with another topic. If you are new, then don't forget to subscribe, and also don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you can stay updated on all of my content. And also don't forget to check the description box because I always put a lot of stuff in there, specifically my book for single women, which you may be interested in, because what we're going to be talking about today is how to emotionally unattach. So if you're confused on what I mean, on why you want to emotionally unattach from men, I'm going to tell you why you should do this, because a lot of the feedback that I get or when people message me or DM me or whatever the case may be, a lot of the females tend to have the same issue, right? A man is treating them the way they don't want to be treated, or a man has left them or cheated on them, or whatever the case may be, or is in their life and he just cutting up, right? And the woman is always like, oh, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, just emotionally detach. And they're like, but it's hard and all this. Right. Okay. But see, the thing about love and relationships that women have to understand is that just because you are attracted to someone, just because you sleep with someone, or just because you have a connection with someone, if it is toxic, that don't necessarily mean that it's meant to be. You do have the ability to have some control over your emotions and who you give your time to and who you give your energy to. You are not just some helpless being that has to stay with bad men and bad relationships because they give you good sex. And my last video was on that, by the way. And so I'm going to link that down in the description box. Or they kiss you, or they're there because you're lonely. This is the bare minimum. Matter of fact, it's not even the minimum. It's like setting the bar real low. They falling below the bar. You are not helpless into just feeding into toxic behind relationships, right? You can emotionally unattach, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to feel hurt, because you will, or it doesn't mean that you're not going to feel emotions behind it, because you will, but it's the fact that you have to move beyond what you feel in order to do something healthy for yourself. So let's talk about how to do that. So the first one is get them out of your space by any means necessary. I don't care if you have to block them, if you have to download an app to block them, if you have to block them from social media, if you have to unfollow them or delete them from your social media, whatever the case may be. Do not continuously have a person who is getting on your daggone nerves, or who does not mean you well, or who is not treating you right up in your space. To me, it is a right to be up in your space. It is a right to be nurtured by you. It is a right to be your friend. And the moment that somebody abuses that, or it's even a right for them to be or for you to be their girlfriend. And the moment that somebody abuses that, then they're gone. It's not like, oh, well, let me continue to stalk their Facebook and Instagram and like their pictures, and maybe no, because you're not going to be able to emotionally attach that way. The only thing that having somebody that don't need to be up in your space is going to do is going to hold you back, because you're always going to have that curiosity of what they're doing, who they're seeing, what pictures they're liking, and all this other type of nonsense that you don't need to be worrying yourself with. And when you get consumed in that, you're going to get more emotional about it, and that's what's going to cause you to flip out and be all depressed and whatnot. Instead, cut this person off by any means necessary. And if you don't feel like you have the willpower to do it on your own, then there's plenty of apps and plenty of blocks that you can use on all of these apps, so that you don't see this person, so that you don't text this person, so that you don't call this person. If you don't feel like if they call you, you can't pick up the phone, then block it so that you don't even see it. That is what you need to do to emotionally unattach. And the second tip that I'm going to give you is to have boundaries. A lot of people don't know what that is. And a lot of women feel like having boundaries means that you're being a jerk. But realistically speaking, you are your number one priority. Unless a man is married to you and he has given you a ring and you have united in marriage and y'all are one flesh and all of that, that's when you have to worry about him. If by chance he is not that, he doesn't have the right to be up in your space at all. You don't owe nobody nothing, and you have the ability to cut people off for whatever reason that you want to, give them as much access to you as whatever you feel comfortable with, or non-access to you for whatever reason you feel comfortable with. And guess what? You don't have to feel bad about it. Don't let anybody put you on a pity party like, oh, so you don't want to talk to me? No, I don't, because this is me having boundaries. And if you're getting all of my nerves, and if you're causing me more stress, and if you're causing me more harm than good, then guess what? I can cut you off and not deal with you and be happy within myself and not have to worry about your feelings or how you feel about it. That's what boundaries are. The moment somebody doesn't have the right to be in your life is the moment that you draw boundaries, and you do not feel bad. Let's say it again. You don't feel bad about drawing boundaries and having and cutting somebody out, no matter what they say. They can sit up there and be like, oh, well, you're the shining thing in my life and I really need you. No, have boundaries. It doesn't matter what I am to your life. If I don't want you here because you're not treating me right, you don't deserve to be here. And therefore, I don't have to allow you here and I don't have to feel bad about it, right? So the third tip is don't get sucked into games. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about, that a lot of the times if you walk away, some of these men want to play these mind games in order to get you back. Some of them may be, oh, let me go ahead and move in with somebody else or be with somebody else and flaunt her all over social media in order to try to make you jealous. And then what you doing? You arguing with him and the other chick on social media. Don't do any of that. Don't get sucked into any sort of games that anybody is playing with you, period. The moment that you feel like, even if you ain't sure it's games, or even if you're not sure it's games, don't get sucked into whatever manipulation tactics that this person has going on and whatever they're trying to draw you in. Even if they call you and be like, oh, my car broke down and I need somebody to come pick me up. And I've had a guy do that, by the way. I don't care. It's not my problem. You a grown behind man. You need to figure that out. Point blank, period. Goodbye, and get off my phone. Because the moment that you get sucked back into the games and say, oh, let me go drop this person off, is the moment that you're talking. The next thing you know, y'all sleeping together. And the next thing you know, you back into the same toxic behind situation that you was already in. Remember tip number 1, get them out of your space by any means necessary. I don't care what pity party you trying to put up on my phone. I'm not getting sucked into your games, and you still have to maintain, what is it? Tip number 2, your boundaries, and not allow them to play games in order to get you right where they want you. Because a lot of the times that's what the manipulation is to get you right where they had you, and so they can start the stupidity again, right? So number 4, say what you mean. Women, I promise you, are so guilty of this. A lot of women think that they are putting their foot down. A lot of women think that they are somehow setting boundaries. And as soon as the guy calls them and wants something, or say, oh, I love you, or you never, or something, you know how the men be sometimes when they want to get back in your good graces, but you know they ain't about nothing. It's just going to be the same thing over and over again. What will women do? They'll go back. Oh, well, maybe this time it will be different. But see, what's the problem with that? So when you emotionally detach from somebody and you have already let somebody know you're not in my space, you have not earned the right to be around me, you're not acting right, and I don't want to be with you, and I want to move forward with my life, you have already told them this through either your actions or your words, or ideally both. The moment that they are able to sucker themselves back in, all of what you just said has become null and void, because literally you have painted your own self out to be a liar. You told this person that they were toxic, that they didn't deserve to be in your life by either your actions or by your words. And the moment that they are able to suck you back in, even if it has been 6 months or 7 months, the moment that they have been able to suck you back in without them changing, then that is the moment that you look like a sucker, because they're going to say, okay, well, all I have to do is play the waiting game and wait it out, and she's going to come back to me anyway, and I don't really have to change or do anything. Instead, when you put your foot down and you say all of this, mean it. Don't go back. If your caveat is, I can't come back to you until you respect me, until you get a job, until you move out of your mama's house, or whatever stipulations you feel, even if you feel like I'm emotionally detached from you from right now until you get your life together, the moment that he's still living up in his mama house, and on day 1 he got a job at McDonald's and he's still living up in his mama house, and you go run over there, then you're unvalidating yourself. Because what did you just tell him? You told him that he needed to be a man, that he needed to get out of his mama's house, that he needed to find his own apartment, that he needs to have a job for more than a day, right? He needs to have a plan for a plan for his life. And so if you even plan on coming back to somebody and you have given them stipulations on that, then that's what needs to happen before you come back. Don't let them say, oh my God, in one day I changed and transformed my life. And you know, in one day they didn't do none of that. So say what you mean and understand that the moment that you falter on saying something and then going back on your own word is the moment that you're diminished in his eyes, because you can't even hold yourself accountable. So the last tip is give it time. This is the biggest one. I have promised you that I have really cared for people or men that I've had to emotionally cut off, and it has genuinely hurt. A lot of women make the mistake of thinking, oh, because this genuinely hurt, this means I must go back. It doesn't. You're a human being. You have emotions. It is going to hurt, especially if you care about somebody. So the biggest thing that you need to know is that day by day, time by time, year by year, month by month, it will get better, provided that you follow all the other steps. You can't say, oh, well, Sophia said give it time, and I did give it time, but yet you still sleeping with him and you still answer his calls and you still playing into his foolishness, because you're not giving it time. You're just going around the same cycle of crazy, and you're just doing it for longer. You really have to cut somebody off despite how you feel, knowing that it may not feel the best, and cut somebody off. And once you give it time, I promise you that you will be able to reflect and look back on all the wrong stuff in the relationship, because a lot of times we do glamorize stuff when we're in it, but you will be able to see the truth for the situation, and you will feel a lot better, and you will also determine that you made the right decision, right? Right. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will talk to you guys another day, another time. Bye, y'all. Not ready for the show to end? It doesn't have to. You can head over to my site where you can read hundreds of articles. And also, you can feel free to shop my store where I have all of my products for sale. And last but not least, for even more video content, feel free to visit my YouTube channel where I talk about a wide array of content. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and until next time, stay blessed.